What's up, boys and girls? It is hotter than a spoon in Demi Lovato's household today, so we'll be sweating our brains out. It's also thunderstormed every single day this week, so it's humid like a damn swamp. Shrek would be proud. But today is squats, and it's gonna be it's light squats with 15-second rest. I'll probably puke. Just how it goes. But let's talk a little bit about the mentality that goes into this sport, and not just the mentality, because to be successful in lifting, you have to put both your mind, your body. You can put body twice in there, because you have to mentally prepare, you have to physically prepare, and you have to nutritionally prepare. So you got these like three: mind, body, and soul. No, it's mind, body, and nutrition. You mentally prepare, you physically train in the gym, and your nutrition, your sleep, your recovery, everything you do to recover from your training is just as important, if not more important, than the training itself. So it's a common saying that if you have two lifters, both genetically equivalent, both at the same level, both doing the exact same program, the lifter that does more to recover is going to be the lifter that wins. So I actually experienced this back in 2018, I think it was. What was it? It was a meet in New York, RPS meet in New York at Sebastian Burns' gym. I was supposed to do the 5th set meet that weekend, but it got canceled. So instead of driving 8 hours to Pennsylvania, I drove like 5 hours to this meet in New York. And that's where the epic 4 Loco stories of me came from. So I was head to head with lifter Willie Richards, right? This was the last meet that he ever competed in that I know so far. Everyone says that they're going to do one more meet, but so we were pretty much even, right? We had the same coach. Coach had us doing similar stuff outside of the gym. Nutrition was a little different. Recovery was much different. I ended up squatting 840, benching 570, and pulling 675. It was like 2000, it was 2080 or something like that, something strange. I remember it was 2080 because I wanted 2105 to knock Greg off my hit list, because he had 2102, I went 2105. So 2080. So squats, I squatted 840. Willie went for an 800-pound squat, and he wasn't recovering correctly, so he got some sort of quad injury, I don't know, and he was mentally out of it for the rest of that meet. His bench sucked. I benched 570, went 3 for 3. His deadlifts, he overshot just to try and catch up. Didn't matter. I missed my last deadlift. So I went 8 for 9 that day. Pretty good day, best lifter, blah, blah, blah. But I was doing more to recover. We were at the same. He had better leverages, better genetics than I did. But lo and behold, I came out on top. So recovery is a massive piece of powerlifting, the sport as a whole. It's not just in the gym. So what do you do to recover? What you gotta do is the CDC or FDC, whatnot, the government tells you that you need 6 to 8 hours of sleep. That's bullshit. You need over 8 hours of sleep to properly recover. 8+ hours, that's a good start. My last meet, I was getting 12 to 15 hours of sleep every day. Don't ask me how. Just know that it was difficult, because when you're in the same position for over 10 hours at the same time, your body doesn't want to move for a bit, so your body gets cranky, but you're recovered. What else do you do? Stretching, activation, both pre and post lifting. The stretching that you do, the stuff that you do to keep yourself mobile. What I do outside of the gym is I'll take a car buffer to spots that I know that get grumpy when I'm lifting heavy, like my shoulders, my pecs, my legs, my hips, anywhere that might get stiff after a while of not doing much. You just hammer those, right? And then comes nutrition. Now, if the government says that you need 2,000 calories, but no, the basal metabolic rate that you have within your body will be a baseline. If you were, let's say there was a catastrophe that went on and you went in a coma, your basal metabolic rate is going to be the amount of calories that the hospital pumps into you to make sure that you don't lose muscle mass, you don't just wither away into nothingness. So your basal metabolic rate is going to be the amount of calories that you burn at rest, what just if you're sitting or sleeping, you're in a coma, that's the amount of calories that you're going to naturally burn throughout the day. That's going to be the bulk of the calories that you're going to need to consume every day to maintain to whatnot. So that basal metabolic rate, since you wake up, you do stuff, you walk from your bed to your kitchen, you roll around in your sleep, you go to the gym, you train, you work, you're spending more calories than your basal metabolic rate. So 70% of the calories that you consume will be your basal metabolic rate, right? So if you want to see how many calories you need, you go online, go to a calculator, calculate your basal metabolic rate based on your height, weight, age, all those factors. And then you multiply that, or you divide that by 0.7, and that's going to be the amount of calories that you need every day for maintenance. So at that point, what you do is, if you're a bodybuilder, what you do to cut is you lower that number so that you're spending more calories every day than you're consuming. Well, if you want to bulk as a bodybuilder, you raise that so that you're spending less calories than you're consuming, so that you can properly fuel muscle growth. You end up also building up a little bit of fat. But as power lifters, we don't really care what we look like. With the fact that I look like a bag of mashed up assholes, we don't really care what we look like. We just eat to fuel ourselves to perform. What was it? NASM or something said that powerlifters need about 12 calories per body weight for male powerlifters, 8 calories per body weight for female lifters in pounds, which puts me at about 8,000 calories a day, which, I mean, so my maintenance calories is at about 4,500. 9,000 calories would be twice my maintenance calories, which is a little too much, but it is better to be too much than too little, because you want to fuel as much muscle growth, as much hypertrophy, as much strength, and increase your recovery as you possibly can. So what you do is you make sure that you're over your maintenance calories by at least 1,000 calories. That's a good start, especially if you're doing high volume and whatnot. So at 450 pounds, Brian Shaw and Hafthor Bjornsson, we're doing 4,000 calories a day in just carbs, specifically just in rice. So to break down your macros, you do about 1 to 1.3 grams of protein per pound of body weight that you have. So I like to get around 300 to 400 grams of protein every day. It's a lot of steak. I hate steak. Oh well. And then for every pound of body weight that you have, you do 0.4 grams of fat, and then the rest of your calories is just carbs. So those fats and protein will make up the bulk of your nutrition, your macros, bulk of your calories. So to increase your caloric intake by 1,000 calories, it's about 9 calories per gram of carb, 4 calories per gram of carb, 4 calories per gram of protein, 9 calories per gram of fat. You can push the fat, you can push the carbs. Protein takes a little bit longer for your system to digest, so you can push that a little bit, but not as easily, not as quickly as the other two macros. So I personally aim for between 6,000 and 8,000 calories a day, with about 400 grams of protein to 500 grams of protein. So 1,600 to 2,000 calories worth of just protein. And then I don't really track my fats because I eat red meats, I eat yogurt, dairy products, a lot of milk, so the fat kind of just goes up there. And then I fill out the rest of my nutrition with carbs, but not just brownies and cookies, because those carbs are kind of useless. If there were any superfoods in the world, it would be red meat, because it is micronutrient dense, potatoes, because same thing, micronutrient dense. You get, in an average sized potato, you get about 1 gram of potassium in just an average sized potato. Eddie Hall almost died on his 500 kilo deadlift because he wasn't getting enough potassium in his system. So Thor, who was on the same diet that I'm on, or I'm on the same diet he is, because he's better than me, so that's how that goes. He was eating about 4 grams, if not more, of potassium every day. And then you saw how his 501 deadlift went. He basically just brushed it off and was like, I'm going into boxing. Anyways, the mental part of lifting is the hardest, because you can't control your genetics. You can't control everyone around you. You can't control a lot of the stressors in your life. Work's gonna be stressful. Life's gonna be stressful. The wife's gonna be stressful. So that's how the cookie crumbles, right? So you have to realize that you can only control as much as you can control, right? I can't control how you think. I can't control how you perceive me. Why should I care? So many people care how other people perceive you, and they stress about it. You know what stress does? It affects your recovery. The more you stress about the things that you can't control, the more your recovery is suffering from stuff that you can't control, right? So I was driving today. I was going through Concord, New Hampshire, live free or die, and this chick behind me starts tailgating. I'm going 60 in a 55. She starts tailgating the life out of me. And I'm like, how stressed about how long it takes to get somewhere? At what point am I gonna put my life at risk because I'm not patient enough to take my time and safely go somewhere? So patience, everyone says patience is a virtue, patience this, patience that. Who cares? Because so many people will tell you that patience is like the ultimate virtue, or like you gotta be more patient, but nobody tells you how to be more patient. Nobody breaks it down for you. You can teach a man to fish, but if you give him a fish and say, go fish, he's not gonna be able to get a fish. He doesn't know how to fish. So go fish, go be patient. How do you do that? And that comes to a concept that I personally learned from video games, Overwatch specifically. If you're curious, my SR is below 500 somehow, is the concept of cognitive bias. Everyone who is stronger than you automatically is either cheating or on steroids, or both. If you look at any world record squat on Instagram, not specifically on the person's page, but anywhere else, a very large portion of the comments are going to be like, oh, that's high. Oh my gosh, he squats high. If I squat into that federation, I could squat high too, and I could squat more than him. No, you squat 315, go fuck yourself. So this cognitive bias, your team is losing not because you are bad, but because everyone else on your team is bad because you are perfect. That is what cognitive bias is. Maybe you specifically are not doing enough to allow your team to win. Has that ever crossed your mind? Probably not, because obviously you're perfect. And that's what cognitive bias is. So to be more patient, I would suggest that you look at the points in your life where you are stressed. Why was the lady behind me tailgating the living life out of me? Why could I actually see what type of coffee she was drinking? She was that close. Why? Well, because I wasn't driving. She can't control how I think, so she's gonna tailgate me and try and force me to think, saying, I will ram my car into yours if you do not drive faster. No. I'll be the guy sipping my coffee going 10 below the speed limit, not caring about shit because I'm not stressed about it. I don't care what anyone thinks about me. People honk and flip me off, cool. But I was going 65 and a 55, so I was already going faster than I was required to. So who cares? Right? You have to find these moments in your life where you've got this cognitive bias dictating how you feel, because when you start to know when you are cognitively biasing the situations around you, you're gonna start to identify the points in your life that are stressing you out, that you cannot control. And when you accept, now, the steps of grief you have to accept. So you're gonna go through some of the steps of grief, because you are killing the idea that you are perfect to everyone else in your own mind. That's gonna be one of the hardest things in your life, is gonna be admitting that you are wrong. Now, cognitive bias, realizing these moments of cognitive bias is like admitting that you're wrong on steroids. You're gonna notice all of these. You're gonna notice that you're an asshole, basically. I realized that I was having cognitive bias within my own relationship with my wife. I was like, why isn't she doing this? I do all the work. No. Appreciate. I had to learn to appreciate what she did, what she could do, and not get mad that things weren't done, because I could easily do what needed to be done. But the fact that she wasn't doing it was stressing me out, but I can't control what she does. I'm not in her head. I don't know what stressors are going on. So to be more patient, you gotta identify these cognitive biases. You have to stop stressing so much what other people think of you. And I know this video is only going to get 30 views at most, but if you take anything away from this video, I hope that it's that this isn't just lifting related, because the weight in there doesn't care what you think. The weight in the gym is going to crush you 9 days out of 10, and on that 10th day, if you get it, it might be lucky. Maybe your squat is stagnant because your form sucks. Maybe it's because you aren't strong enough. Someone's out squatting you out there, not because they're squatting high, not because they're cheating, not because they're on steroids. Maybe it's because they're doing more recovery work. They're doing more sleeping. They're competitively sleeping on your ass while you're watching 14 episodes of Grey's Anatomy. Why are you doing that? That person has the time. You don't know what their life is like. Oh, I don't have the time. People make excuses like that all the time, why they can't get in the gym. I don't have enough time. Oh, no. You gotta identify the moments where you're being selfish and kind of release those cognitive biases, those excuses that you're making. One instance of cognitive bias that I personally experienced in the gym was that my squat was perfect. I squat 800 pounds. I must have good form. No, my form was trash. When I squatted 800 pounds, I basically good morninged it. What do I do there? Let's herniate a disc. Let's start over. Let's get injured to learn that my form was garbage. Now, I'm not saying that you have to get injured to learn, but it's an eye-opener. I went back to the lab. I broke down my squat. I perfected the movement. Right now, when I competed at the Christmas Carnage in 2019 and at my previous meet, I grinded out my second attempt squat, not because the weight was too heavy, but because my form sucked. What was going on was I was squatting on the sides of my feet instead of through my heels, through the ball of my foot, right? So I attribute my 1,000-pound squat to doing air squats, doing things to create positive muscle memory in my body, improve my form, make sure that I'm doing it better. So my air squats weren't too good because I still had that second attempt folly with, 955? I basically called it a good morning, even though I only tilted this much forward. When you got thousands of pounds on your back, the way that torque works and the science behind everything, your erectors are not going to be strong enough to be able any further, and I would have been stapled. You see 1,000-pound squatters all the time. They never miss a squat because they've gone to the lab, ignores it here, and they've perfected their form. You never see anyone fail above 1,000 pounds because they know what their weakness is and they don't overshoot themselves. And So it's gonna take months of self-reflection. It took me 8 months of reflection with the aid of a therapist. Now, getting a therapist is not a bad thing. It may be possible. There's nothing wrong with you if you get a therapist. I got a therapist to be able to identify these moments where I'm an asshole. Right? Even though a lot of people say I can't hurt a fly, I know that there are times where I've been overly selfish and I've got these cognitive biases and I care too much about what other people think. So working through issues like that, becoming a better person with the aid of a therapist, there's nothing wrong with that. That's probably, it's easier to do something like that with the aid of a therapist. It's almost like you don't coach yourself into powerlifting. You find a coach and the coach is going to allow you to progress a lot better, a lot further than if you tried to do it all on your own. It's basically just a mentality coach helping you sort through your cognitive biases, your issues, the things that are stressing you out. So, long video. If you come away from this, I want you to leave with 3 things. Training in the gym is only part of the battle. You're not going to become a champion just by what you do in the gym. Sorry, I'm at the gym. I'm in the parking lot. The gym's right in front of me. If you don't pay any attention to the way you sleep, the way you stress, the way you eat, you're not going to become a champion. You're not going to become better. You may find a best version of yourself given those restrictions, but you're not going to be the absolute best version of yourself. And lastly, if you can't do things in here, you can't do things in there. You can't do things anywhere because you're going to be overly stressed, affecting your recovery. Until you understand how you think, how you perceive things. It's not just for the gym, it's for overall life. You're going to be much happier once you identify and you come to accept these moments. You're not going to go out. I hate it when people plug their own things, but if you go and watch my Tao Te Ching videos. It kind of goes over, you shouldn't go out and find things to make yourself feel good. Things that, like an instance where you can help someone, don't go searching out for that, because at the end of the day, you only live long enough to see yourself become a villain. You're gonna end up impeding someone by doing that. If someone comes to you for help, that's perfectly fine. You can help them. So don't go out and try to find things to make you happy. Don't chemically induce happiness by searching for it. Let the happiness come to you. People the people around you will help you be happy. It's like the grass is always greener on the other side, but the grass that you're standing on is just as tasty as the one over there. And the grass is always greener over the septic tank. You don't want to be eating shit grass. So I'll leave you with this. When you lift happy, your lifts will be happy, and happy things grow like a penis. I mean, that's not inappropriate, because everyone knows what that is, and that makes sense. When you lift happy, you'll be able to progress more in the gym, in life, in your career. So don't force it. It's a lot like a fart. If you have to force it, it's probably poop. You're gonna poop. So if you're forcing your way in there, in the gym, if you're forcing things, you're gonna get injured. You don't want to be injured. Trust me. Injuries hurt. They affect not only what's going on in the gym, they affect you with the relationships around you. And you got to be able to mentally be able to combat the negatives of your life. So start with yourself. Make yourself happy. Right? Don't write in the comments, I made myself happy, daddy. No, do it for yourself, not for me. You'll thank yourself. And honestly, I'm happier that I went through the negatives in my life to overcome, to grow as a person, to identify that I had that cognitive bias. I am a happy person. I am in my teens. I'm in my 20s, blah, 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 blah. I'm happy. And then I ended up in the hospital because I wasn't. Usually the happiest people around you are not actually that happy. Robin Williams, the people who try to make you happy the most know what it's like to... The people who try to make you the happiest know the most what it's like to be unhappy, like Robin Williams. Rest in peace. So go out, find your happiness, or let your happiness come to you, and identify those negatives, those cognitive biases. Fix your nutrition, fix your sleep schedule, fix your relationships. Because at the end of the day, the gym is only temporary. You're in the gym 2 to 4 hours a day, 3 to 4 days a week. But the people around you are gonna be there longer. There's gonna be a day where you can't lift anymore, but there won't be a day where your wife won't love you, as long as you maintain a healthy relationship with them. And that's the most rewarding thing that you can do for yourself. I meant for this to be a lot shorter, and then I got a little bit deeper with what I wanted to say, and I don't regret it. So this is gonna be a separate video. I'm gonna go squat, but you guys won't know that this is a squat. Squat video will come out sometime in probably September. I don't know. I train 3 or 4 days a week. I post 2 times a week, just so that you don't get the lag from like deloads, and I take a whole week off before and after a meet, and you don't want to see that. You don't. I gotta feed you. Feed you some content. Thank you, daddy. Like, comment, subscribe if you want. I can guarantee you it'll make you happier. See, that was shit because I forced it. Have a good day.